Welcome to another deep dive.
Oh, yeah.
Today, we're diving into descriptive writing,
Okay.
seeing how we can make words really pop off the page.
Right.
And we're going to be looking at a student's story
Okay.
called The House Where Tom Rosewood Lived.
Mm-hmm.
And along with that, a teacher training document that uses that story
Okay.
as an example.
Okay.
So I'm excited to see how this seemingly simple story
Right.
can become something really special with a few revisions.
You know what I think is really fascinating about this particular deep dive?
Oh, yeah.
Is that, we often talk about strong verbs or vivid imagery.
Right.
But here we're going to actually get to see it in action.
Oh, that's great.
So it's like having a writing masterclass right in front of us.
I love that. Okay.
Yeah.
So why don't we start with just a quick summary of the original story. So it's about Tom Rosewood, who lives in a small old house with his family.
Mm-hmm.
Not super fancy.
Right.
But it is full of love. So it's like a classic, heartwarming tale setup, you know?
Exactly. And even in this basic version, I mean, we really see those core elements of a good story, right? We've got our character, we've got our setting.
Yeah.
And we've got a little touch of emotion.
Yeah.
So we've got the raw materials there just waiting to be shaped and polished.
Yeah, it's ready to go. It's like the clay. You know?
Exactly.
And that's where the teacher training document comes in.
Okay.
Which, focuses on making the story more evocative, using, tools like emotion, vivid imagery, even personification to really breathe life into it.
Okay.
And one of the examples that just jumped out at me was, instead of just saying quiet street, the guide suggests sleepy street where the silence felt like a secret.
Ooh.
Which is, that's a big shift for just a couple words.
It is. And I think what this does is it really highlights a key principle of descriptive writing.
Okay.
You're not just telling the reader something,
right,
but you're actually making them feel it.
Oh, okay.
Right. So the original phrase, quiet street, that tells us it's quiet.
Right.
But the revised phrase, creates an atmosphere.
Right.
A mood. Right. Suddenly we're not just observers.
Yeah.
We're in it.
Right.
We're experiencing that stillness, that sense of mystery.
It's almost like the difference between, reading a recipe.
Yeah.
Versus actually tasting the dish,
Precisely. And that's what we're aiming for.
Yeah.
Right. To engage the reader's senses and imagination.
I like that. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So let's actually see this in action.
Okay.
I'd love to compare the original and revised version.
Okay. Yeah.
Side by side. So in the original story, it says, the house was painted light blue, but the paint was peeling off in some places.
It is. It's very
yeah.
Just stating the facts.
Yeah. Very basic.
Yeah.
Right.
Very basic.
Okay.
Right.
But in the revised version, it reads, the house was painted light blue, but the paint was peeling off in some places, like a snake shedding its skin.
Ooh.
Okay, so that's a lot more interesting image.
Right. And notice how that simile, a snake shedding its skin, adds a layer of, unexpected visual detail.
Yeah.
Suddenly, that peeling paint, it becomes something we can really see and even feel.
It's true. Yeah.
Right. And it also hints at the passage of time a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
The way things decay and renew themselves.
It's got more depth now.
Yeah, it's evocative. It's not just telling you what it is. It's making you feel something.
It's really amazing how much depth just one well-chosen comparison can add.
It is. It's about finding those unexpected connections.
Oh, yeah.
That just spark the reader's imagination.
I like that a lot.
Shall we look at another example?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Okay,
so here's another passage about the front door. The original version says, the front door was red and had a shiny gold handle.
Again, very basic description.
Right.
Serviceable, but not particularly memorable.
Right, yeah. Okay, now check out the revision. The front door was a bright red with a shiny gold handle that gleamed in the sunlight.
Wow.
Okay, so now it's we stepped into Technicolor movie,
Yeah. Like, just by adding those words, bright and gleamed, it just instantly, like, elevates the description.
Yeah.
We go from simply knowing the door's red to, like, actually seeing that vibrant color.
Yeah.
You know, the way the sunlight catches the gold handle, it creates a sense of, like, warmth.
Yeah.
And welcome.
I love that. It also makes me wonder, like, why those specific details? You know, like, what is it about sunlight glinting off metal that just feels so, like, inviting?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think it speaks to a deeper level of how we process sensory information.
Oh.
You know, like that glint of light that can, like, signal warmth.
Yeah.
Which we instinctively associate with, like, safety and comfort.
Right.
You know, it's also about, like, contrast.
Oh, okay.
The bright red of the door against the gleaming gold, you know, which creates, like, visual interest and, like, draws the eye.
Right. So it's not just about adding details. It's about, like, choosing the right details to, like, evoke those specific emotions and create that desired effect.
Exactly. Every word choice is a deliberate act.
Oh, yeah. That's cool.
Right.
So you really got to think about it.
Yeah.
It's making me think about my own writing. Like, I'm already noticing how I could be more intentional with my my descriptions.
That's the first step towards, like, you know, becoming a more powerful writer.
Yeah.
It's developing that awareness of, like, how your words are working.
Right.
Both on that, like, you know, surface level, but also on that deeper, like, you know, emotional level.
Right. So it's not just about, like, fancy literary techniques. It's about, like, understanding the psychology behind how we respond to language.
Precisely.
Oh, that's cool.
And that's where things get really interesting.
Okay, I'm hooked. Let's keep going. I'm eager to see what other secrets this training document has in store.
Yeah.
Let's dive back into Tom's house.
Okay.
This time, let's focus on a place that's often full of, you know, sensory details. The kitchen.
Oh, the kitchen.
Perfect. Let's see how they transform that space.
Yeah. So in the original story, the description of the kitchen, it's pretty basic.
Yeah.
It just says Tom's favorite room was the kitchen because it always smelled like cookies.
Okay.
Right.
Short and sweet, but not very, like, evocative, right?
Right.
Like, it tells us about the smell, but we don't really, like, experience it.
Exactly. Now look at the revised sentence. Tom's favorite room was the kitchen because it always smelled like warm chocolate chip cookies fresh out of the oven.
Okay.
See?
Wow, yeah.
Suddenly we're not just, like, told about a smell. We're, like, transported right into that kitchen.
Yeah, it does paint, like, a much more vivid picture.
It does. The revised sentence engages, like, multiple senses.
Oh.
Right. We get that visual of, like, chocolate chips.
Yeah.
That olfactory sensation of warm.
Yeah.
And even, like, the implied tactile experience of fresh out of the oven.
Yeah.
And the specificity of, like, chocolate chip rather than just cookies, you know?
Yeah.
It, like, further enhances that sensory experience.
It's like those words are, like, activating, like, a whole network of, like, memories and associations.
Yes.
I'm like practically drooling, you know.
That's exactly what, like, good descriptive writing should do.
Yeah.
It should, like, tap into those universal experiences and evoke a visceral response in the reader.
I like that.
Right. But it's not just about appealing to the senses.
Okay.
This, like, simple revision also reveals something about Tom's character.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Right.
It's not just any cookie smell.
Exactly.
It's the specific aroma of, like, homemade chocolate chip cookies.
Right.
Which suggests, like, a loving, caring environment.
Exactly.
So it adds, like, a layer of emotional depth to the story.
Precisely. It tells us that, you know, this isn't just a house, it's a home.
Right.
Filled with, you know, warmth and affection.
Right.
And that brings us to another important aspect of descriptive writing.
Okay.
Using strong verbs.
Yeah.
To, like, inject energy and action.
Oh, I was just thinking about that.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
Verbs are like the engines of our sentences, right?
Yes.
They, like, drive the action.
Yes.
They keep things moving.
Exactly. So, you know, in the original story, when describing the large oak tree, in the front yard, it simply says, in the summer, the tree was full of green leaves.
Okay.
Right.
It gets the point across.
It does.
But it's a bit, I don't know, passive.
Passive. It lacks like that oomph.
Yeah.
That sense of like vitality.
Right, exactly.
Right. But look at the revised sentence. In the summer, the tree burst with green leaves, its branches stretching like arms to the sky.
Ooh.
Right. Now we have a sense of like abundance.
Yeah.
Almost a feeling of the tree like straining with life.
I like that. Yeah. So choosing burst over was full of, really suggests that, like, sense of energy and vitality.
Exactly.
It transforms the tree from like a static object into something much more like dynamic.
Dynamic, yes. And notice the addition of the simile, stretching like arms to the sky.
Yeah.
Right? It personifies the tree, giving it like human-like qualities.
Right.
And further emphasizing that sense of reaching.
Yeah.
Of striving.
It's almost like the tree is like a character in the story now.
Yeah.
Adding to that overall feeling of this home being a place of like life and growth.
And that's the power of figurative language.
Right.
It allows us to like create layers of meaning and association that go beyond the like literal words on the page.
Right, right.
I think this is a good time to kind of take a step back.
Okay.
And consider how these techniques apply not just to fiction writing, but to like other forms of writing as well.
You're right. Yeah. We've been like focusing on this story, but these principles are like universal, right?
Absolutely. Whether you're writing like a business report, an email, even a social media post.
Okay.
Using strong verbs.
Yeah.
Vivid imagery can make your writing like more engaging and persuasive.
Oh, okay. So instead of saying like, our sales increased.
Sure.
You might say, our sales skyrocketed, exceeding all projections.
Exactly. You've used a stronger verb.
Yeah.
And added a detail that like emphasizes the positive outcome.
Yeah.
Right. It's more impactful.
Yeah.
And memorable.
Yeah, I like that.
Right.
It's like the difference between saying it was a good presentation and saying like the presentation captivated the audience and sparked a lively discussion.
Perfect example. You've moved beyond a simple statement of fact. Right.
And like painted a picture of the presentation's impact.
Right. Okay. I'm convinced. We need to be using these techniques everywhere. But before we move on, I want to touch on another point from the training document.
Okay.
That really resonated with me.
Yep.
The importance of varying sentence structure.
That's a great point. And it often gets like overlooked.
Yeah.
Varying sentence structure is like crucial.
Right.
For creating rhythm and flow in your writing.
Yeah, because if all your sentences are like the same length and follow the same pattern, it can sound like monotonous.
Monotonous, yeah. Almost like robotic.
Right, exactly. It's like listening to a song with only one note. It might be like technically correct, but it's not very interesting.
Exactly.
Okay, so in the original story, there's a passage
describing the house that reads, "The house was painted light blue, but the paint was peeling off in some places. There was a big tree in the front yard with thick branches that stretched over the roof."
It's grammatically correct, but it lacks musicality. It's a like list of facts presented in a very straightforward way.
Okay, now listen to the revised version. The house was painted light blue, but the paint was peeling off in some places, like a snake shedding its skin. A towering oak tree stood in the front yard, its thick branches stretching over the roof like a protective umbrella.
Ah, much better.
See?
Yeah.
So the use of a shorter sentence after the simile adds a sense of like rhythm and variation.
It does. It does.
And it also highlights the image of the peeling paint.
Yeah.
Before introducing the tree.
Right, right.
And the simile, comparing the branches to a protective umbrella.
Yes.
It further emphasizes that sense of safety and comfort that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, it does. It's all coming together beautifully.
I love how these like seemingly small changes are working together to like create this like much richer and more layered experience for the reader.
Yes, it's like weaving a tapestry of words and images.
I like that, yeah.
Right. And speaking of like weaving a tapestry, let's step inside.
Okay.
And see how they transform Tom's bedroom.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see how they apply these techniques to a more, like, personal space.
Yeah. In the original story, the description of Tom's room is pretty basic.
Okay.
It just says, Tom's room was small, but full of his favorite things. He had a bed with a blue blanket, a desk for drawing, and a shelf full of books and toys.
Okay.
Right.
It's functional.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really give us, like, a sense of Tom's personality, does it?
It doesn't. Now listen to the revised version. Tom's room was small, but crammed with his favorite things. He had a bed with a soft blue blanket, a desk covered in his drawings, and a shelf crammed with books and toys. The walls were decorated with posters of fast cars and brave superheroes, making the room feel like his own little world.
Oh, okay, that's so much better.
Right. So instead of simply stating that Tom has a desk for drawing,
Yeah.
the revised version tells us that the desk is covered in his drawings.
Yeah.
This small change reveals something about Tom's character.
Okay.
His creativity.
Yeah.
His passion.
And I love the addition of the posters of fast cars and brave superheroes.
Yes.
It gives us like a glimpse into Tom's interests.
It does.
And makes him feel more like real, more relatable.
Exactly. And ending the description with that phrase, making the room feel like his own little world.
Oh, yeah.
Adds a touch of emotion.
Yeah.
And makes us like connect with Tom on a deeper level.
Right.
We understand that this room is more than just like a collection of objects. It's a reflection of Tom's inner world.
I like that.
Yeah.
This deep dive has been so insightful.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing how these like small changes can make such a big difference in bringing a story to life.
It really highlights the power of language.
Yeah.
And the importance of being like intentional with our word choices.
Right.
But we've only like scratched the surface here. There's so much more to explore.
Oh, I know. It feels like we could talk about this for hours.
We could, and perhaps we should. Why don't we take a quick break to like gather our thoughts
Okay.
and then come back for like a final round of insights.
That sounds like a great plan. We'll be back in a moment with more from our deep dives into descriptive writing.
Welcome back to our deep dive into descriptive writing.
Yeah.
It feels like we've really like unearthed this treasure trove of writing techniques today.
Right. I'm especially excited to see how this training document handles like the ending of Tom's story.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
Because the ending of any piece of writing is crucial.
Oh,
right?
it is.
It's the last impression you leave on the reader.
Right.
And it's the part they're like most likely to remember.
It is. A weak ending can like totally undermine even the most brilliant writing.
Right.
And a strong ending can like elevate a simple story to something truly memorable.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it can make or break the whole thing.
Exactly.
So let's take a look at how the teacher's guide tackles the conclusion of the house where Tom Rosewood lived.
Okay.
The original version simply states, Tom's house wasn't fancy, but it was warm and happy. It was the perfect place for him to live. What do you think?
It's a pleasant sentiment.
Yeah.
But it feels like a bit generic,
Right.
you know? Almost like a Hallmark card or something.
Yeah, like a little cheesy.
Yeah, it's like it tells us,
The house is warm and happy,
yeah.
but it doesn't really like show us.
Right. Yeah.
Why?
Okay, but now listen to the revised ending. Tom's house wasn't fancy, but it was warm, happy, and brimming with love. It was the perfect place for him to live.
Ooh.
Just one small change. But it makes, like, a world of difference. Right?
Yeah.
Adding that the house is brimming with love really shifts the focus from, like, just the physical attributes of the house to the emotional atmosphere.
Exactly.
It makes the ending more like resonant and heartwarming.
It does. And it also connects back to those like earlier descriptions.
Yeah.
Like the kitchen.
Right.
Filled with the aroma of freshly baked cookies.
Right, exactly.
It reinforces that idea that this house is a place of, genuine affection and connection.
Yeah.
It's not just like bricks and mortar.
I love that. It's a subtle but powerful reminder that even the most like simple stories
can be like infused with like deep emotion through careful word choices.
It's true.
This has been such an eye-opening experience.
Oh, good.
Like I feel like I have like this whole new set of tools now.
That's great.
To really bring my own writing to life.
I'm so glad to hear that. And remember, these techniques apply not just to, fiction writing.
Right, yeah.
But to any form of communication.
Okay.
Where you want to make a lasting impression.
Yeah.
Whether you're crafting like a business proposal,
right,
writing an email, even composing a social media post.
Okay.
These principles can help you like connect with your audience on a deeper level.
So it's not just about being like a good writer. It's about being like an effective communicator.
Precisely.
Yeah.
It's about understanding the power of language.
Yeah.
And using it to achieve your goals.
Right.
But, ultimately, I think the most important thing is to like find your own voice.
And use it to, share your unique perspective.
Right.
With the world.
Yeah. It's not about like imitating others. It's about like expressing yourself.
Right.
Authentically.
And that's what makes writing so rewarding, I think.
Yeah.
It's a journey of like self-discovery.
Yeah.
But also like a way to connect with others.
Yeah.
On a meaningful level.
Yeah. This deep dive has been a fantastic reminder of that.
Yeah. I'm glad.
Thanks for sharing your expertise and for, helping us unlock the power of descriptive writing.
It's been my pleasure.
Yeah.
And to our listeners.
Yeah.
I encourage you to like explore these techniques.
Yeah.
Experiment with your writing. And most importantly, have fun.
Yes.
With the process.
That's a great note to end on.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into descriptive writing. Until next time, happy writing.